Peymon who?
Mottahedeh.
Peymon Mottahedeh. Who is he?
Never paid taxes for 30 years. Fought the U.S. tax court and won.
See, I believe our rights come from God, not from government.
Hello to my truth and freedom-seeking friends. This is Peymon Mottahedeh. I'm the president of Freedom Law School, which I created in 1996. And for over 30 years, I have not filed and paid any income or payroll taxes legally. Never been in prison, and I've been teaching Americans like you to do the same successfully, just like me. Our website is freedomlawschool.org. In this presentation, I will cover the topic of zero returns. What are they? Should you do them? The pluses and minuses of doing zero returns. Well, the purpose of the zero returns, it basically is what you see on this website, okay? To get 100% refund of the income tax and even Social Security income taxes that your employer steals from your paycheck. And you say, that's your money. They should not be taking it in the first place, and you have the lawful right to get it back. And I agree with that, because it is your money that's been stolen, okay? Now, this has been tried and done for over 25 years, at least, that I know of, close to 30 years. Okay, because I've been at this, folks, since 1992, okay? So in the past, people tried it, and it doesn't work a lot of times, okay? Under our frequently asked questions page, we talk about, for example, the Urban Shift, the late, great Urban Shift right here, the gentleman, you know, he did this thing, and Wesley Snipes did something similar to it, but not exactly zero tax return. He did, that's what got him in trouble. I generally do not recommend zero tax returns, but let's discuss them. There actually is a potential benefit to doing zero tax returns. They do sometimes work. After all, anytime you can get some of the money that was stolen from you, give it back to you, the lawful owner, that's a good thing. So I'm not against the zero tax returns in principle at all. But you need to understand the pluses and minuses for yourself, okay? So the gentleman who's talking about this a lot these days is Pete Henningsen of Lost Horizons, is his website, okay? And here on his page, you go to here, we got down. He's got many victories he has on there, and there's true. He does have a lot of people who've done this method and get money back. This person got $16,000 plus back from the IRS. This lady right here is giving her a testimonial. She actually got the money back from the IRS. And here you see people like Joe and Gloria here. They actually have a check for over $3,600 that they got back from the IRS. And you see more of these letters from the IRS that people have, one, got their money back, or the account has been zeroed out and refund checks issued like the ones you see on this website. So Pete Henningsen is not wrong about this method working. It does sometimes work. The only problem is it does not always work. Okay, we're going to cover that in just a minute. Okay, so let's go deeper into his website, because listen, people like, I remember Lynn Meredith did this thing in the late 1990s, 1997 I remember. Urban Shift did it back in the late 1990s. Other people have done this thing, so it's not something new, it's actually something old that's been coming around again, and Pete Henningsen being now the main guy putting it out there for people to check out, okay? So here we are on his website. He has, again, more information about this topic as you scroll down, some resources for legal contests with the IRS, and notes and tips for educated filers, he calls it, on these pages. He has more information about it, how it is and how it works. And here's a 1040X. Basically what happens is that Henderson has you file a 1040X. Basically that X is for amending or correcting the previous 1040 that you filed with the IRS, okay? And so that's typically what happens. People try to get several years of money back from the IRS that was stolen from their paycheck. So here we are, in this case, the 1040X. And if you go down on this, you'll see here, go down, you see on the third column from the right is the original amount on the tax return shown. On the second one from right is the net change, like 96,000 is now negative 96,000. And the correct amount is on the very far right column, which is, in this case, adjusted gross income. On line 1 is 0. You go down, and you see here we are at the bottom of this page, near bottom, refund amount you owe, line 21 is 14,000, okay? So that was an example of this case, how it happened, okay? Now, then what that led to for Scott and Olga, in this case for year 2020, they got a check for over $15,000. They got the $14,000 plus and interest. IRS paid them as well. Good for Scott and Olga Clark. I'm happy for them. Okay. Here's some people do it this way. This is a little bit different. This is what they did a 1099 that was issued by the third party to the IRS. They put 0. They whited out the amount in the center, okay, the gross income, and I put 0 on there. Okay. So on the 0, then they attached it to their tax return for 2022. That's what Scott and Olga Clark did for 2022. And based upon that, they listed by the way, they $158 of interest on this page online, 2B, which is wrong because none of your money is taxable. But anyhow, so based upon that, they owe the IRS 0. Everything is zeroed out, so they don't owe the IRS anything. Okay, they did that just April of 2023 in this case. And here we go. Scott and Olga Clark, in this example, they got a letter from the IRS as a result saying, amount you owe now due is 0 after reviewing the tax return that Scott and Olga Clark sent to the IRS. Okay. Now, however, that's not always the case. Sometimes the IRS doesn't give the refunds. Okay? Here's an example of those cases. The IRS does not give you the money back that you deserve to get back. Okay? In this case, IRS from Ogden, Utah. On the top left, look at that. Frivolous Return Program. Okay? That's the address of this office that handles these kind of situations. They call these tax returns frivolous. Okay? And here's November 2023. And what happens here instead? They threaten you with penalties for 2021. Okay, this Jeff, okay, did this return, and look what it says to call dear taxpayer. You filed the purported tax return for the tax periods above that claim one or more frivolous positions or reflected a desire to delay or impede administration of the tax laws. If you don't immediately correct your return, we'll assess a $5,000 penalty against you. Whoa, that's a threat. Now, this is a form letter on the top right. You see this is LTR or letter 3176C on the top right. It's just a canned letter, but still, the point is that the IRS is trying to scare you and have you retract your return because it's a statement under oath, okay? And it's signed by typically a looks like a real person. No, it's a computer signature of Mr. La Rochelle, Return Integrity Verification Operations. So they sent it out to you by this canned letter to make it look like you got some personal attention, but they're actually giving you some personal attention because IRS created this program called Unprocessable Returns Program back in late 90s, and now this is a continuation of that program that they got going on from that time. Okay, so and then what were this for this person? We wrote a letter under duress to take that return back. Okay, and why did we do that for this person? Because I have seen many people come to me and say, I did this for many years and I got no refunds. Instead, I got $5,000 penalty for this return. that return, this return, and that return, like $20,000.
Oh, no.
And then I followed the Pete Henningson's website advice, and I argued with them and tell them you were wrong. Guess what the IRS did? They penalized me again every time, another $5,000. I tried to correct them again. Look, you guys are not getting it. Let me straighten you out. Read what I'm saying. But instead of taking everything off and agreeing with me, they penalized me again, $5,000 every time I wrote them a letter to back up my position. And I've seen people with $20,000, $60,000, $70,000 or more, or just these penalties, okay, that I think is wrong. I think it's illegal. But the problem is that the only way to challenge the tax is basically, pay part of that and sue for a refund. And refund claim, refund lawsuit, and they can potentially just come after your paycheck and bank account. The penalty is assessed like that. You don't get a trial before they put the penalty on you. You get a penalty right away. Whereas if they are supposed to come after you as a non-filer, they have to give you a official notice of the tax proposal called a notice of deficiency, which gives you the right to challenge IRS in tax court. If you lose that trial, which could take several years potentially, you can appeal it to the Federal Court of Appeal. And even then, okay, you can down the road at the collection due process hearing put other challenges to some of the tax or penalty depending on the circumstances of the case. Appeal that to tax court, Court of Appeal, or maybe the IRS never gave you a notice deficiency and you can challenge the whole tax completely, everything, at the collection due process hearing, which takes several years again or more to complete. All those rights you have to trial and challenge them, that would take many years, that you are safe completely as long as you're properly, legally challenging them. Okay? You may win, you may lose, right? But with the penalty, all that is gone. You're penalized right away, and you owe them the money the IRS claims. So that's why this proposed letter was written for this person. In this case, they did. Basically, the letter says it's a dumb, computer-generated letter that you sent me. You claim what I'm saying is frivolous without telling me why or how it's frivolous, okay? And you threaten me with this $5,000 penalty. So, okay, in that case, guess what? I'll withdraw the tax return so that you don't impose this crazy, ridiculous $5,000 penalty that you threatened me to put on me, okay? Because that's why I don't recommend that. Let me tell you something. I remember back in California when I used to teach live in my home in Tustin, California, in Orange County, California. I had 4 people in front of me one time. In a break, one of the classes I taught live in my house. One guy got money back from the IRS and the California Franchise Tax Board. Good for him. He said, it works. The second guy got a refund from the IRS for doing a zero tax return. It doesn't matter who it was, Irvin Schiffway or Lynn Meredith Way, whoever it was. They did zero returns basically of some sort. Said, I got money from the IRS, but California Franchise Tax Board did not give me my money. And in fact, they fined me. They claim I did something frivolous. The third person says, that's funny. I got a frivolous penalty from the IRS. I got no refunds. But California Franchise Tax Board gave me a refund of the state income taxes California had that my employer had sent to the FTB, California Franchise Tax Board. And the fourth person said, I got no refund from the IRS or the California Franchise Tax Board. I got frivolous filing penalty from both the IRS and the California Franchise Tax Board, FTB. See, you just don't know that how the dice is thrown, what comes out. Why take such a chance playing this game at all? I told them, just don't file anything, okay? I'll tell you the real solution in just a minute. to stop the stealing from the money from your paycheck to begin with is where you really want to be at, okay? So that's what happened here, okay? And the law they use, by the way, against you is Section 6702, frivolous tax submissions, and the Internal Revenue Code, Title 26. Basically, that allows the IRS to make whatever they don't like, say this is a frivolous penalty, and if it's a $5,000 penalty on you, IRS can summarily just throw at you just to scare you, okay? So, and they have this notice about it that they put out in 2007 about all this stuff. They got all this gobbledygook about, you know, what you're saying is frivolous, okay? Specified frivolous submissions under Section 6702B, okay? And here is a sample letter that they sent out if they impose the $5,000 penalty, by the way, which used to be only $500. Then they changed it about, I think about 15, 20 years ago, from $500 now up to $5,000. So here we got, in this case, tax statement, penalty under Section 6702, $5,000, as you see here. Now you can challenge it at the collection due process here letter, like this stage, where this person got a notice of federal tax lien filing and your right to a hearing. Okay, here you could challenge it. Okay, and then, or if they want before they levy your bank account or paycheck, you can challenge it then at the collection due process hearing. But for me, I prefer to avoid it. So although I've been tempted to have people do zero returns, perhaps to get the stolen money back from the IRS, but it's too much risk and too much responsibility on me to back you up for something that I told you to do. No. I don't want to take a chance on you getting messed up and I be held responsible for messing you up. I'd rather tell you it's a simple way is just follow the U.S. government's official legal websites and don't file at all in the first place, okay? So 7 steps we have is, number 1, follow the law, right? There's no law requiring you to file income tax based upon U.S. government's official legal websites. The only people that got to pay income tax are citizens and residents of D.C., federal workers that work in D.C., and people who sell real estate in D.C., okay? So step 2 is stop filing those 1040 forms. That is the problem. You put the rope around your neck, okay, when you do that. Stop putting a rope around your neck. Stop signing those 1040 forms, because that's where you admit and claim you owe the money, and based on your confession, that's where the IRS gets the money to mess with you, audit you, put you in prison, everything else you did yourself, okay? Because the fact that you signed that 1040 income tax confession trap form, okay? All right. Step 3 is very important in that you realize IRS is mostly bluff. Yes, they definitely are bluff. The Wizard of Oz. Here's Dorothy and her friends, the American people, being afraid of the IRS because what? The crooked mainstream media told you to be afraid of the IRS, okay? And then, of course, here's another picture of the brainwashing of the American people that's been very successful. No, I want you to brainwash yourself. Don't be afraid of them. They are afraid that you'll wake up. That's right. They're afraid of you waking up and take back your freedom. There's about 80 million non-filers, according to IRS's own best estimates. So no, you have nothing to be worried about, folks, if you educate yourself. Go to step 4. You see, people, I've been being the IRS myself and my students for a long, long time, for decades. Don't be afraid. Okay? None of our people have gone to prison if they come to me clean, or IRS has taken nothing from them by force of levy or property seizure. Okay? And step 5 is don't pay tribute to the crooks in It's Really Slavery IRS. Write your congressman. If they can show you the law that requires you to file income tax, fine, pay them. But if they cannot show you the law, why would you pay them the taxes that you never legally owed in the first place? You are not a slave. You were born free. Just like the movie Braveheart.
But they'll never
never take our freedom!
Right? How do you see that? You haven't seen Braveheart? See it with Mel Gibson. Just like the movie Patriot with Mel Gibson, folks. You were meant to be a free man and woman. Why would you continue to allow yourself to remain a slave when you can be free if you simply choose to turn key with Freedom Law School and be free, right? And then step 6 is if you have the spirit of the America's Founding Fathers, you may join our Founding Fathers program, Restore Freedom Plan, and get 100% guarantee that you've been completely backed up and not lose to the IRS at all. Would guarantee, if that is what you want to do, it's available. And please tell your family members, friends, co-workers, people who go to church about the truth, about the law that you've been just educated with Freedom Law School, and take back America, our freedoms, our family, okay? Spread love and truth, okay? Now, I'm going to give you as a bonus. If you don't want to do a zero return, and you don't want to have to file that zero return to get the money back from the IRS, the solution is easy. Stop the income tax withholding from your paycheck legally and safely. You must go study step 1 through 5 and do step 5. Write your lawmakers. That's critical that you write your lawmakers these petitions that we have available for free. It's your fundamental right to tell these people in government to enforce the law on the IRS, the DOJ, even crooked judges. We want to protect this communist system that's been imposed on American people. Okay? So here, what you do is very simple. Let's look at our screen. You go on there on freedomlawschool.org on the right. Look at that. The third item is free yourself from tax withholding. Okay? So do the petitions and then do the tax withholding. Everything here is free, brothers and sisters, okay? And so here you do it. We give you complete instructions. Stop the withholding. There's a video on there. There's also instruction in detail and sample form for you to use. That way, you will not have to resort to a zero return to get the money back. You stop the income tax withholding from the get-go. At this point, to get the Social Security money back, we don't have a good method for that right now. Sorry. But the income withholding, we can stop from the get-go. Keep it. Fight inflation. Catch up with your food bill. Catch up with your credit cards. Have more money to, for rent and housing and good food, everything you need, folks. It's your money, not them. Not the crooks in government. So, all you gotta do is, as you drive to and from work, okay, or wherever you go errands or work out or do gardening, put our videos at freedomlawschool.org on your smartphone. Let it play in your car as you drive, safely watch the road, listen, and educate yourself to be free. Then, when you go to work, okay, at lunch or dinner, put your smartphone or personal computer up. Once again, watch it this time as you hear it and say, everything Freedom Law School says is based upon U.S. government's official legal websites and reports. So this is not some cockamamie theory about sovereign or state citizen, U.S. national, revocation of election, straw man, UCC, sovereign citizen, name the capital letters. All this nonsense is out there. It's the real enchilada. That's why I haven't gone to prison for over 30 years teaching you to be free like me. That's why they don't try to put me in prison, because they know I will beat them. They don't want that to have that victory. So leave me alone. Oh, sure, I'm under investigation. For over 30 years, I've been under criminal and other investigations. Yes, it's documented. But they can't stop me, because the law is on my side and on your side. Solution is simple. Cure our ignorance. freedomlawschool.org is your opportunity to no longer be the slave of the federal government and be free man or woman again. Make it a priority. Every time you get in that car, put our videos up from step 1 to 7 at freedomlawschool.org. Listen to them, okay? And at lunch and dinner. And pretty soon you have the confidence, like me, and be free and have America become a free country when more of us join hands together. So with that, I give you my love, and I wish you a free, prosperous, and joyous year.